The morning air in the Scottish Highlands carried a familiar crispness, a sharp Atlantic breeze that seemed to dance through the stone-walled corridors of the historic textile centers. It was against this rugged, timeless backdrop that the Princess of Wales arrived for an engagement that would seamlessly weave together the threads of royal duty, charitable patronage, and a deep, abiding respect for British craftsmanship. This visit, documented in meticulous detail by the Royal Family Channel, was far more than a mere ceremonial appearance. It was a journey into the heart of Scotland's most iconic industry, tartan. As the princess stepped onto the workshop floor, the atmosphere was thick with the scent of lanolin and aged timber, and the air hummed with the rhythmic, hypnotic clatter of looms that have defined the local economy for generations. The princess's choice of attire for the day was a masterful exercise in sartorial diplomacy, a term often used to describe her ability to communicate respect for a region through her clothing. For this excursion into the industrial yet artisanal world of weaving, she opted for a look that balanced the high-stakes elegance of a global public figure with the practical needs of a hands-on participant. Her silhouette was structured yet forgiving, featuring a coat with a sharp, tailored shoulder that conveyed authority, while the cinch at the waist highlighted a classic femininity. The fabric of her coat itself seemed to pay homage to the very looms she came to inspect, a heavy, high-quality wool that spoke of durability and warmth. The color palette was particularly inspired, utilizing deep, forest tones that mirrored the Scottish pines and the moss-covered hills of the surrounding landscape, ensuring she looked entirely at home in the environment. Inside the workshop, the princess was introduced to the visionary team behind the design initiatives, where the conversation quickly moved beyond mere aesthetics. She spent a significant amount of time with Sophie, the lead designer, who explained the workshop's unique mission of working with resettled refugees. The project is a profound example of cultural integration. Newcomers are encouraged to design their own tartans, a process that allows them to tell the story of their journey. The princess listened with visible empathy as she learned how these individuals blend the vibrant colors of their homelands with the traditional patterns of Scotland. To the princess, who has long championed the importance of community and early childhood development, the idea of using fabric as a medium for storytelling and healing clearly resonated on a personal level. The technicality of the weaving process was a source of genuine fascination for the royal visitor. She stood intently by as the master weavers explained the mathematical precision required to create a tartan pattern. A single tartan is composed of a specific sequence of colored threads that are repeated in the warp and the weft. The princess observed how even the smallest variation, one thread more or less, could completely alter the historical significance of a clan's pattern. She was shown the jump in the threads and how the physical artifact of the cloth becomes a vessel for memory. The staff shared stories of how some designs were inspired by a husband's favorite jumper or a specific, cherished location, turning a simple piece of clothing into a lifelong heirloom. When the moment arrived for the princess to step behind the loom herself, the focus of the room shifted. It is rare to see a member of the royal family engage so physically with industrial machinery, yet she approached the task with an enthusiastic, almost scholarly curiosity. Sitting at the bench, she navigated the complexities of the shuttle and the comb with a focused grace. She was not afraid to ask the clumsy questions, inquiring about the tension of the threads and the physical strength required to operate the manual looms for hours on end. Her interaction with the machinery provided a striking visual contrast, the delicate, refined image of a princess juxtaposed against the heavy, grease-stained wood and iron of the loom. This moment served to humanize the royal figure, stripping away the grandiosity of her title and replacing it with the universal language of learning a new skill. Her fashion remained a point of silent commentary throughout this process. Despite the lint, dust, and stray fibers that are a constant presence in a textile mill, her ensemble remained impeccably sharp. This resilience is a hallmark of her style, choosing garments that are not only beautiful but are engineered for the rigors of a diverse royal schedule. Her accessories were kept to a functional minimum, likely to avoid any interference with the moving parts of the looms. Yet the jewelry she did choose carried a subtle sparkle that caught the light of the workshop's high windows. It was a reminder that even in a utilitarian setting, She maintains a standard of grooming and presentation that has made her a global fashion icon. A particularly insightful moment occurred during a discussion about the differences between fibers. The princess, who is known to favor luxury fabrics like cashmere and merino wool for her private and public life, asked the weavers if cashmere was significantly more difficult for the machines to process than standard sheep's wool. This question revealed a sophisticated level of industry knowledge. The weavers explained the delicate nature of cashmere fibers and the slower speeds required to prevent breakage, a fact the princess noted with interest. This exchange highlighted her role as an informal ambassador for the British fashion industry, showing that her interest in clothes extends far beyond the final product and into the very roots of the supply chain and the welfare of the workers involved. As the day progressed, the princess met with the men and women who benefit from the workshop's charity mission. She spoke with individuals who had found solace in the repetitive, meditative nature of knitting and crochet. For these people, the workshop is more than a place of employment. It is a sanctuary. The princess remarked on how quickly the artisans could set up a pattern and let the machines take over, comparing the rhythmic nature of the work to a form of creative mindfulness. She seemed particularly moved by the stories of those who had used these skills to gain independence and build a new life in Scotland. The visit concluded with a challenge for the princess to select 5 colors for a unique design. This task required a keen eye for color theory, something the princess has mastered over a decade of public appearances. She debated between different hues, noting that she tends to gravitate towards strong, bold colors, but was curious to see how they would blend when woven together. This creative exercise was a fitting end to the visit, as it allowed her to leave a small, personal mark on the workshop's history. It was a symbolic gesture that reinforced the theme of the day, that everyone has a story to tell, and that these stories are most beautiful when they are woven together with the stories of others. Leaving the workshop, the Princess of Wales left behind an impression of a woman who is deeply invested in the heritage of the United Kingdom. Her visit was a masterclass in how to use a royal platform to shine a light on specialized industries and vulnerable communities. Her fashion choices, her technical questions, and her willingness to get her hands dirty at the loom all spoke to a modern monarchy that is engaged, informed, and profoundly respectful of the traditions that define the nations over which it presides. The footage from the royal family channel captures a moment in time where ancient craft met modern influence, creating a narrative that will be remembered as a highlight of her Scottish tour.